And sometimes as teachers, we have more to learn about that mathematics. And that's the goal of this part, is to really help us know what's important.
I'm trying to get an idea of how to use the book. It seems like it's kind of a do this first and that second. Is that how you're supposed to use the book?
You might see some books that say number talk a day for the year, which is very prescribed. Like I hear Kathy in my ear saying, that means any kid can show up and I'm not changing what I'm going to do based on who's here. What's different here is that it's structured in a certain way so that we understand the development of the mathematics, but it's not structured in what I have to do every day. For example, the way it's set up is by ranges, and there are typical things that happen within a particular grade level. Kindergarten, for example, might, the beginning of the year, be at range 1, and they might move on to range 2, and some of the kids will even be ready for range 3, and then there's crossover when they start first grade. It's typical, knowing that there's always an outlier. But because of the way the ranges are set up, even if I have an outlier, there's things that are happening within the new range that's still keeping them engaged because of the questions I'm asking. If I wanted to let somebody know how a range is set up, first off, if this is range 3, for example, it's reminding us what we did in range 2, and it's letting us know what's coming ahead in range 4, so I know where all the crossover is, even though the size of the numbers might change. I think that's something that's really helpful for teachers, is it's what are we aiming for? What is the goal of this particular range? What's the mathematics that we want kids to learn? And sometimes as teachers, we have more to learn about that mathematics, and that's the goal of this part, is to really help us know what's important. This is where you might be thinking about it being prescribed. It's not really prescribed as much as it is, here's a question. This is one way I can present a question. For example, if we had just had this card and some of the students, counted, somebody might have said I saw 4 and I counted on 3 more. Somebody else might have said I saw 4 and 3 and I know that's 7. So this particular question is about relating subtraction. So my next question to follow this might be, oh, you said 4 and 3 is 7. What if we had 7 and we subtracted 3? So you're trying to get at those big ideas. There's not a particular order. It's just that this is one kind of question I can ask after any card like this. And then there's like 2 examples of what that might look like with any card. And so you'll see a particular card, but really it could be replaced with any card. It's followed by a new question, like thumbs up when you know how many there are. I see 4, there's some hiding, and altogether there are 7. So how many could be hiding? So I'm using the same card in a variety of ways for one thing, but also my question is different. But it's still getting at that proficiency with all the ways of 3 and 4 and 7. So it's just another question. It's not that this question comes after this question. I could ask any of these questions on any particular day.
Could you also talk about the variety of different types of cards and why those are important?
I know a lot of people are familiar with the dot cards. The most common thing that you see is dot cards. Something that we've used for a long time are these toothpick cards. Well, obviously these don't have the toothpicks on it, but they come from doing toothpick cards with kids. I still like the ones with the actual toothpicks. It just is another way to see the same numbers. It adds a variety, it adds interest. We have ones instead of dots, they're squares. We have triangles instead of squares. Every number has a variety of arrangements of how the numbers are set up.
I have plenty of Unifix cubes in my classroom, but I don't have those cards like you've been showing us. Is there somewhere I can get the different cards that you're showing us?
In the back of the book, on the last page, it gives a website. It's number-talks.com. When you open the home screen, there's a part that says Number Talk Cards. If I click on that, it will give you all kinds of, we refer to these as arrangement cards, because it's lines, dots, squares, how they're arranged. And then you'll see other ones that have 10 frames, double 10 frames. We have base 10 cards. There's all kinds of tools. Everything that you'll see in here is accessible on that website. And they're sorted on there by range. So you'll see ranges up to 4, and then you'll see ranges 5 through 8, and then there's pre-K. So there's different sections that you can look up. So if I'm working in range 5, for example, I might go on there and print out the ones that are 5 through 8. But also knowing that I could go get the ones in ranges 4, and I could still use those too.
Math Perspectives provides professional development for educators of grades pre-K through 5 mathematics. Our instructor team is made up of highly qualified classroom teachers who have used our materials and practices with students in their own classrooms. A link is provided below for our professional development offerings. Booking a course is as easy as calling us at 360-715-2782 or emailing info@mathperspectives.com. Kathy Richardson, one of the nation's leading educators of elementary mathematics, is the primary author of the books used in our courses. These books provide teachers with the information they need to understand how children learn mathematics. Kathy has developed assessments that help uncover what students truly know so that teachers can provide them with meaningful experiences in a safe learning environment that helps ensure the success of all students.